The word pharyngealization comes from pharynx, which is one of the organs in the body that is used for speech. This is where the pharynx is, and then the adjective for pharynx is pharyngeal, and you can turn it into a verb using the ize suffix, pharyngealize, and then you can turn pharyngealize as a verb into a noun, and which becomes pharyngealization, which is indeed another process of secondary articulation, as we use the suffix ize in phonetics to identify the secondary place of articulation. Therefore, when you say pharyngealize, what you mean is to give a pharyngeal secondary articulation to a sound whose primary place of articulation is other than pharyngeal. What you do in pharyngealization is you pharyngealize a sound, which means you constrict your pharynx for secondary articulation. Pharyngealization is particularly associated with Semitic languages. It is widely studied in the case of Arabic, which is a member of the Semitic family of languages. Arabic is rich in uvular and pharyngeal sounds. If you look at the consonant chart, you would see that we actually have pharyngeal as a place of articulation right before glottal. And there are only two pharyngeal sounds, which are fricative indeed. One of them is voiced, the other one is voiceless. Arabic has these pharyngeal sounds. Arabic has two sounds whose primary places of articulation are pharyngeal. But Arabic also uses pharyngealization as a secondary articulation sitting on top of a non-pharyngeal sound. These are the Arabic symbols that are used for these pharyngeal sounds. You see in each case, like the voiceless pharyngeal fricative, I have put 4 Arabic symbols that are separated by commas. The reason there are 4 symbols is that in Arabic, some letters can have up to 4 forms. The same applies to the voiced pharyngeal fricative. Again, this sound has 4 forms. If you look at the IPA chart, you go to the place where there are these diacritics. Here you have symbols for secondary articulation. You see they are all IZED, labialized, palatalized, velarized, pharyngealized. This symbol, which is a tilde, says in front of it, it says velarized or pharyngealized. So it could be either this or that. But there is another symbol on top of this, which is exclusively used for pharyngealized sounds. And this is a superscript version of the voiced pharyngeal fricative. As far as I know, this is pronounced as ha, and this is pronounced as a. And then when you put the a on top of the sound, you can pharyngealize it. The same symbol is used for velarized or pharyngealized because the places of articulation are similar. Maybe the effect is also similar. So for example, a pharyngealized S can be shown like this. As you can see, there's a tilde going through it. You see here, I have used the superscript pharyngealized symbol. In this case, there is no ambiguity that this is pharyngeal and it's not velar. This symbol is called superscript reverse glottal stop. Why is it called a reverse glottal stop? Because the glottal stop has a similar symbol, but it faces the other direction. So this one is reversed. So for example, this without this would be da, but with this one would be something like da. Or this one would be ta, but with this one would be ta. An example is the word, the Arabic for mud, which is, I think, pronounced something like ta'in. The thing is, when you use the tilde symbol, because the symbols merge together, that concept of simultaneity of some secondary articulation and primary articulation is more accurately implied. But when you do this, it looks like because the symbols follow each other, you might wrongly deduce that these two symbols are not pronounced simultaneously. But that is prevented by superscripting the symbol. So when you superscript the symbol on top, make it small and push it on top right, imagine that it is simultaneous with the primary symbol. If you're not clear on this, for example in English, SH together, you don't read S and H separately. Both together are considered to be one sound. So when you say ship, for example, the SH is considered to be one unit. So what happens when you pharyngealize a sound? What happens is the pharynx can be contracted by retracting the tongue root. You see the tongue root here? You retract it, you push it back towards the wall of the pharynx by retracting the tongue root or raising the larynx, or you can do both. This creates the pharyngealized effect, or it's also called retracted tongue root. And you can do this to vowels as well. Vowels may be pharyngealized as well. In the case of vowels, a third possibility is to give the vowel an R-like quality of oticity by either raising the tongue tip or bunching up tongue body at the same time as constricting the pharynx. So basically, even if you bunch up the tongue body, you constrict this entire space and the pharynx consequently.